Hey there everyone, and I thank you guys so much for tuning in to yet another episode of My Orchid Adventures with me, Maria Young. So in this episode, we're going to be doing a humunga dunga wunga phenomenal orchid haul, and we're going to go ahead and get it started like right now, and BAM! Here it is. This is a humunga dunga wunga of an orchid. Now, can you guys recognize what this orchid is? Check it out. Check out the size. This is actually a Specta. That's right. And even though I said this is humunga dunga wunga, this is actually a baby orchid in comparison to how large Specta can actually get. Because Specta in the wild can get about 7 or 8 feet tall, and we're talking about 3 feet wide. That's how big and how tall these plants can get. So again, this is still a baby in comparison, but look at the size. It is still quite superior in size. But what is so phenomenal about this Specta right here is its blossoms, of course. And it is a type of blossom that once you've seen it in person, I can guarantee you will never forget it. Because it is so unique, so bold, so expressive. There's so many things going on in their blossoms. As a matter of fact, there's so many textures, there's so many patterns. You're gonna see a lot of very weird twists and turns and elongated and pointy petals. You're also going to see the veining, which is a little bit creepy and alien-like. And you're gonna see something that looks almost as an eye in the center. So indeed, the blossom is quite a creature of a flower by itself. So again, this is the spectacular Specta, and I'm sure you can see why. And this one right here is a Cattleya Prism palette, and will you take a look at this beautiful, beautiful bloom right here. This is so gorgeous. I love the fusion of colors. I love the blushing and the flares that this has. And indeed, the color combination is very pretty as well, with the shades of different pink and magenta, the white, and also the beautiful yellow. And as you can see, the blooms are pretty nice sized here. I would say about 4 inches in diameter, and these are very fragrant as well. Very striking blooms, and this indeed will catch your attention. A focal point to any collection. Very beautiful. And right here we have a Dendrobium Amethystoglossum, and if you take a look, you are seeing so many spikes and so many buds. This actually has 8 spikes that are almost about to burst at the seams. They are ready to bloom, and then you're seeing some that are still coming about, and then even some nubbins at the top of some as well. So this is going to be blooming for quite a while because it does have so many spikes right here. And these have some beautifully amazing and very unique blossoms as well. The colors on here are white and magenta, and you're gonna see the actual lip at the bottom, but you're gonna see the petals. I think there's about 5 of them, and it seems like a white feathered crown on top of the head of the flower. So indeed, it is a beautiful orchid, and with this many blossoms, how can you not think that they are just going to give you a multitude of beauty, because that is exactly what they do. This is a species variety known as the Papilio. This right here is one of the most gorgeous and striking mottled foliage that I have ever seen. Indeed, you are seeing that heavy pattern with that maroon, kind of orangey, kind of reddish color with that nice light green. Just absolutely gorgeous. And look at here, folks, look what I have in my very hands. This is a Cattleya that is not so readily available and can be quite hard to find. So to have it in my very hands, oh my goodness, I am so very privileged. This Cattleya is the Daiana Rosita. This is quite a spectacular Cattleya. Not only can this bloom several blooms on one spike, and of course a very huge bloom on top of that, but indeed this has a blossom that exhibits quite a very distinctive pattern on its petals and also its tongues. The veining on this is so extreme and really stands out very boldly. You cannot help but to notice it. And because again it is on the tongue and also on the petal and very quite extreme, it is one that sticks out like a green thumb in a great way. It's a blossom that once you see in person, again, you will never forget. And let's not forget to mention either that it is also very, very fragrant. So indeed, a lot of things going on with this Daiana. And this right here, folks, is one of my most favorite Coelogynes. This is actually the Coelogyne Usitana, and this comes from the beautiful island of the Philippines, the island of Mindanao to be exact. So with that being said, you can see that it is very exotic, very extreme in its contrast, and also very dramatic in the way that it blooms. So the bloom you are going to see is that the petals are very light and pastel in color, somewhat of a white, but also has a little bit of a frosty green tinge as well. Then you're gonna see a little bit of rusty orange in there, a type of a little bit maroonish, I guess you could say, but very dark in the regards of looking almost black. So indeed, just quite a very extreme contrast in bloom. Now this is a sequential bloomer, so this will bloom one at a time, but what makes this so amazing is that after it blooms, it leaves a zigzag pattern on the actual spike itself. So as the spike will hang down very pendulant and very cascading, you are also going to see quite an extreme zigzag pattern on each of these spikes. So if it has multiple spikes, can you imagine? You're going to see these blooms right here, extreme in contrast, and then the very dramatic zigzag pattern as well. So indeed, just quite a visual treat with this Coelogyne Usitana right here. And here's yet another beautiful blooming beauty. This is a Elsie Green Veil Dressy. And how dressy is she? She is so fancy with her nice, very lime green right there in the petals. Then you're seeing that nice white in the lip area or the throat area. And then you're seeing the very nice deep magenta, almost purple lip. And it's just a gorgeous combination together. What's also fascinating about these is how many blooms in a cluster. Indeed, you're gonna see a lot of blooms, up to 5, 6, or sometimes even more. So this is indeed a phenomenal bloomer, and this is also fragrant as well. So man, beauty, fragrance, and multitude of blooms. You cannot beat that with an orchid bat, I'm telling you. And this beautiful blooming beauty right here is a BLC Memory Lee Vita Lime Light, and this also exhibits my most favorite colors in its beautiful bloom. You're seeing again that very lime green, almost a frosty icy green. I love it. I also love the elongated, very long and pointy petals, and I'm loving that lip right here, that deep magenta, and then you're seeing some spottings that are even deeper magenta, and of course that nice white overlay as well. Definitely quite a beauty in this orchid. And this right here is a very unique orchid. This is a Smalley, and if you've ever seen one of these, you know that indeed it is quite spectacular in the way that they bloom. This has a watermelon-like color with that lime green, also a little bit of white, but indeed that very nice fuchsia in color. But you're also going to see a bead-like right in the center of the bloom, and that's what makes it so unique, because I don't really know of any other orchid that has that. This is a Dendrobium Smalley Leah crossed with a Smalley Aussie. And this one right here is a Kysis bractensis. And indeed, this is a beautiful bloomer as well, blooming a very white, sometimes having an orange kind of tinge on the outer petals. but indeed, usually you're going to see it in a white and very waxy, very firm texture on the blossom. It definitely is not a flimsy orchid, and it has such a solidarity to the blossoms, if you will. And this is also known as being fragrant, and it can bloom in a cluster as well. And what's striking about this are not only the blooms, but indeed the way that it has such a nice growing habit. You're going to see the catasetum type bulb right here, and you're going to also see the climbing, branching nature that it has growing its new growth as well. But indeed, once it grows so big, and you're going to have several of these, you can see what a tropical display that this can give. And let me not forget to show you this whopper of a Hippodamia right here. Do you see how huge this orchid is? It is just so vigorous, so hardy, and so aggressive. I don't know if you can see this right here. This is actually in a hanging basket, but inside the hanging basket, I still have it in its pot. And then, of course, you're seeing all of these crazy madness of roots right here, just strongly intertwined into that pot. I don't even know how I'm going to get this out of that pot, but it's going to be quite a mission. But indeed, it's going to be worth it because I so love this Hippodamia right here. And this actually was left in the sun at the nursery, so you are seeing some yellowing in the leaves, but that's quite all right because, again, this is an aggressive grower. This has so many new growths in here already coming up, and look at those blooms. I mean, how could you say no to that? And this is actually one that is fading, so it looks even more prettier when it first just opens up. But you are seeing a light pink veining in the lip, also somewhat of a white creamy yellow right there. And also in the leaves, you're seeing that nice green with splotches and spottings of a very deep magenta raspberry color. So indeed, quite a beautiful color combination with some pretty extreme patterns in there as well. And this actually has 4 or 5 blooms. I see 4 here still left to bloom, and this is the 5th bloom. So indeed, on one spike it can have multiple blooms on there as well. So this is quite an amazing orchid. If you guys ever can get your hands on one of these, I would recommend it because this is so hardy and so easy to grow in. Again, if you like mass and you like beauty, this is the orchid for you. And there you have it, folks. That is my orchid haul. I got off to a very late start, so I'm gonna go ahead and end this video. I only have a couple of more left to show you, but that's quite all right. I showed you enough. I want to know, what did you guys think about the orchids that I have? And no, they are not all mine. Some of them are actually going on my eBay shop, unfortunately, but yeah, I did snag a few, so yay me. So you guys have got to let me know, what did you guys think? Which ones were your favorite? Which ones do you have? And which ones do you guys want? And please be sure to post those comments below. Thank you guys very much for staying tuned to my orchid adventures. I really appreciate you guys joining me on my journey. And you guys already know I do truly love and appreciate you guys all. Mwah.